So this is going to be kind of a VOD review, but also kind of a tutorial on how to play Conduit, because it's kind of relevant now, uh, which is pretty cool. Um, so first of all, a lot of this will be talking. I don't have an ability tracker on my screen for this because I wasn't really planning to record this. I just happened to shadow play it because it came out fairly well. But first things first, when do you play Conduit? You play Conduit when 1.5 minute timers are going to be better for you. You know, that may mean your kill timer is going to be a lot better for a 1.5 minute CD cycle, or that might mean you'll have a ad set with 1.5 minute CDs, or you'll have a damage amp with 1.5 minute CDs, or you wouldn't have that stuff with a 2 minute cooldown cycle, or your kill timers favor 1.5 minute over 2 minutes. In general, that's how you decide what to play. Right now, there is a bug with Conduit. It's not really with Conduit; it's more with Storm Earth and Fire. But basically, this will be demonstrated in the video. But basically, what happens is, whenever you press an ability in Storm Earth and Fire, your clones, an AoE ability, okay, like Fist of Fury, probably Strike of the Windlord, definitely Spinning Crane Kick and Conduit. Whenever you press these, they split between all your targets that you're hitting. But your clones, when they copy them, they're copying you. So if you hit one target, they're going to act like they're hitting one target. But they could also be hitting a lot more targets. So basically what that means you can do is say, you'll see it in this video, but there's going to be a bunch of ads, and I can put my Storm and Fire clones in that ad bunch, and I can go out of the raid, just go run away. And I can press Conduit, and it's going to hit all those ads as if they're the only target being hit by Conduit by my clones, because it just doesn't split. That's what it is. It's expected to be fixed soon. We're kind of surprised it wasn't fixed by this reset, but it's situationally useful. Obviously, you can do what I do here in this video, and it's big damage. It's a big burst. I would say it's maybe useful for Avanax, but it kind of depends if you need the AoE versus needing a single target. If you need the AoE on Avanax, it's probably worthwhile to do it if you're confident in playing it. If you're not, definitely just stick with Shadowpan. It is absolutely perfectly fine. Shadowpan's also going to be doing more boss damage. It also, for me, so the way Shadowpan works with it is you can have some cooldown for every single ad set except for the third set. And if you play Conduit, you just don't have that. I think it's like set 2 or set 3 in the second area that you don't have something just randomly that you would have with Shadowpan. So after 130 pulls of playing Shadowpan, and I realized, oh shit, Shadowpan does have CDR for Storm Earth and Fire. It's just not really worth it for me to play, because we also need boss damage instead of AoE. But if you're struggling with killing the ads on Avanax, maybe you don't have a Frost DK or something, it could be useful. It's information to be used well. But so again, essentially what you do, you fixate your clones into the pack, and you run away. Conduit has a 15-yard range, so you need to get at least 15 yards away. If you can't tell how far 15 yards is, just go far. It doesn't matter. Set up a port and just run out, and then port back in. It's okay. But what it does, it just makes it do full damage to every target that it hits from your clones. And obviously your cast is not going to do anything because you're out of range. You can min-max it to game it and hit the boss, hit one target, but you're risking fucking the whole thing up. And just by doing that, if you want to be sure, it's better to just go out to 0 targets. But anyway, let's get started with this video. And so, like I said, I don't have an ability tracker, so I'm gonna try and just go over my opener as it plays out, but it might be a little difficult at full speed, so I might be pausing it here and there. But let's just start. So we've got a pull timer, and so there's also another bug happening. I'm gonna pause for this, where I don't know how long this has been going on. I think we just recently discovered it, but I'm sure it's been going for a long time. When you have a stat buff trinket, typically the use case for that is right after you Storm Earth and Fire before your next ability. For me, I just macro my shit into Storm Earth and Fire with a pet conditional, and it just doesn't. I don't ever have to think about it. It's pretty cool because I'm lazy. That's not optimal. I'm lazy. It's fine. It's not optimal though, so don't do that if you want to be perfect. But so what's happening is when you press that stat buff trinket, in this case it's transmitter, so it's a little extra delayed. But if I have Skarden's Grace and I press it with Storm Earth and Fire, the clones don't get that buff right away. So I don't know what the delay is for them to get it, but they don't get it right away, or they don't consistently get it right away. Something along those lines. I don't know exact details of this bug, but right now it looks like it's optimal to use your stat buff trinket before you Storm Earth and Fire. So in this clip, with transmitter, it's the same thing. It's just transmitter, you have like a extra step to get your stat buff. So here on openers with using transmitter, I'm just using it before we even pull the boss and get the stat buff right before we pull. And you're going to lose uptime on the stat buff during your cooldowns, which is not good, but this is like a surefire way to make sure you have the buff for your Storm Earth and Fire and make sure it gets to your clones until that gets fixed. We don't know when it'll be fixed. No idea. Okay, we're going to go back to playing. Sorry, this is going to be a little pretty expositional. It's also really breathy. Sorry, I'm kind of just banging this out. Okay. So, right there, I think actually I fucked up doing the transmitter pre-pull thing that I was talking about. But so we're gonna go Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Zwin, Storm Earth and Fire, Rising Sun Kick, Strike of the Wind Lord into Conduit. And ideally, you want to have the transmitter buff before you want to Storm Earth and Fire because of that bug right now. But when that bug gets fixed, you'll just want it before, Strike of the Wind Lord or Conduit. Your big buttons, So, that's it. That's basically all that's different with Conduit. You have Heart of the Jade Serpent. It's not tracked in my middle because it's like a different spell ID if it's from Conduit than the actual buff you get just from spending Chi, which is 28 on the screen right now. Basically what that means is your Rising Sun Kick, Strike of the Wind Lord, and Fist of Fury have, I think it's half cooldowns, or maybe 75% speed cooldown. I don't know exactly, but they cool down a lot faster. Obviously you want to try and utilize that. It also makes your Fist of Fury channel 75% faster. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. It just goes faster. Is all you need to know. So with that Heart of the Jade Serpent, you're gonna want to save your second charge of Storm Earth and Fire for that buff. Now, here I just use it with Strike of the Wind Lord, but it may be optimal to use it a little desynced, maybe a little bit right before it comes up or something. If you have a damage amp on Silken Court or ads on Bloodbound Horror or some shit, it doesn't matter. But you do want that to be in your Storm Earth and Fire because you are going to be resource starved during that. So you want to make sure you use it pretty well. Also with Conduit, you're playing 1.5 minute class instead of a 2 minute class. Right now, I'm padding, so I'm not going to use my cooldowns on the boss for like 10 seconds of uptime on it. That's kind of dumb. Here we're about to see the Conduit, the Storm Within Fire bug that I was talking about with Conduit specifically. Again, I should have used my transmitter a little bit earlier. Now see, look, it does full damage to him. My damage shoots up like crazy.
Holy heck, I love free-thinking bars.
So, you know, that's pretty cool. It's always fun to see that. You can cosplay a Frost DK. Kind of cool. His damage is mostly meaningless. It's on ads that are going to fucking melt anyway. Who cares? But it's fun. You know, why not? And, you know, just do this. So basically, Conduit is a lot easier, in my opinion, to play than Shadowpen. And Shadowpen's pretty simple. I think they're both incredibly easy, but I think Conduit is just like idiot proof. Because you just have a button that you press, and then every once in a while, right here, we have a Heart of the Jade Serpent window. This is kind of a shitty timing for one. Kind of just have to deal with it. Another thing with Conduit, you kind of just run out of steam right around here at the 3-minute mark. This is where you get that Heart of the Jade Serpent window, and you just run out of energy. You run out of chi. It kind of just sucks. It's not bad overall. It just feels bad. It feels really, really bad. You kind of just have to deal with that. But like I said, Conduit, you just have the big button that you just press with Zwin and Storm Within Fire. That's all the thinking there is to it. You know, right now there's a bug. We're expecting that to get fixed, so it's not something you're going to have to worry about long term, most likely. See here, I'm using transmitter before I did any of my shit. You'll always use Conduit after Strike of the Windlord. Now there's also going to be some times where your Conduit lines up with the Heart of the Jade Serpent window. Now ideally what you do there is you strike the Windlord, and then you do some of your Heart of the Jade Serpent window until you maybe run out of resources, or your both things are on cooldown because they didn't reset whenever you hit a Rising Sun Kick or something. And then you Conduit. You want Conduit in your Gale Force window. That's the whole video. We're going to let it loop. Cool. Because it's over. And I'm still talking. But Conduit is really simple. Like I said, it's just the big button to press with your cooldowns. You always press it the same way. And you have the Heart of the Jade Serpent window. That's the only thing that's maybe complicated, is the Heart of the Jade Serpent window. And it's really not. It's just, you still do the same priority of Rising Sun Kick and Fist of Fury on cooldown. And you just have to figure it out. You just press them and you try to maintain your resource in between them when they're on cooldown like this. Like on pull, especially if you get a PI, it is nothing but Rising Sun Kick and Fist of Fury for the first couple seconds after Conduit, just because it always resets with a little bit more haste and bloodlust and everything, just because the cooldowns are so low with Heart of the Jade Serpent. And that could also happen like in the middle of a fight if you lust there with cooldowns or something. But yeah, that's basically it. It's really simple. It's not hard at all. Like I said, in my opinion, I think it's even simpler than Shadowpen. You know, Shadowpen has like some really dumb stuff that you can do to like get a little bit extra damage out of it. It also has a lot of RNG between pulls. There's a huge variance in Shadowpen, and that variance just really isn't there with Conduit. It's honestly looking like Conduit might be the play for single target. It's definitely going to be the play in the late farm whenever everything dies just really fast, unless it's just a very specific kill timer that favors the 2 minute of Shadowpen. But for the most part, it's going to be Conduit, unless there's just massive changes, which there absolutely could be tuning pass on this stuff. You know, no idea. Right now, I think Shadowpen sims like about 5% higher than it's supposed to. And right now, Conduit sims like, I think it's like 5k less than me, which is margin of error, if I have a heroic transmitter. My transmitter is normal, so it's like 20k difference to play Conduit versus Shadowpan in single target at 5 minutes, which is
Holy heck, I love
really, really small. The main thing is just the timers. It's almost certainly the play for Silken Court. It's probably the play for Kaiveza. It could be the play for Avanax if you're struggling in AoE with the bug right now. It could also just be the play for Avanax if you start Avanax playing it. I think it could be the play. I think for me, because it's just, we didn't know about this bug before. It's on beta, we just didn't know about it. Because I guess nobody cared to notice that it stayed. I guess, I don't know. It's not something you're really going to unintentionally notice, It's one of those things. You really have to be looking to notice this Storm Breath and Fire bug that, and like I said, that bug works with Fist of Fury, Strike the Windlord, Spinning Crane Kick, and Conduit. All of your AoE abilities that split on more than 5 targets or whatever the fuck, right? Is just mostly relevant for Conduit. If you really want to min-max it, it might be worthwhile to do it with Spinning Crane Kick. But keep in mind, with Spinning Crane Kick, you might also be missing out on the Jade Ignition damage, which I don't know if that's worth it or not. I don't know. I'm sure somebody else has mathed it out, or someone else can math it out. I don't care to. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to sweat that hard. But yeah, another thing to note that I don't do here, I don't know how relevant it is, but apparently there is a bug where when you press Conduit, there's the last talent in the hero tree is like at the end of the cast, or if you press the button again at any point during the cast, you cast it again for free, and it does like more damage or something, and that's where it invokes all of your Celestials. Apparently there's a bug where it doesn't automatically cast it at the end. If you press the button, you have to, I think if you press the button, you have to actually sit through the cast again. I don't think it just does more damage. I don't think it's an extra long cast or anything like that. I haven't pressed it, but because I haven't ran into the bug. But apparently there's a bug that it's supposed to auto do it at the end of the cast, and it just doesn't sometimes. And I don't think we know what causes that yet, but I'm sure we will at some point. But yeah, it's I've rambled on for a while. It's pretty cool. Play Conduit.